Kia ora te whānau, ko Glenn Harding toko ingoa, ko ngā pui rau ko Ngāti whātua o ko iwi. I'm one of the owner directors of Independent Traffic.
Kia ora everybody, my name is Panapa. I'm the founder and CEO of Redline Technology Group. We're a nationwide IT support and services provider here in New Zealand.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ko Mangatani Whatemanga, ko tāpapa te awa puta atu ki te wāha pū o hokianga whakakarakia, ko reina tuai pini ahau, ko tēnau aku tamahini a tiari, and tōku ho rangatira a Shane Penny me tōku whanaunga a Jordan Ortene. Kia ora koutou katoa.
Kia ora tātou, maloa lele, ola and aloha. Ko Holly Bennett toku ingoa, ko te Arawa toku iwi, ko Ngāti Whakaue me Ngāti Pikiao toku hapu, he Kaitūhono Ariki ahau o Awhi. My name is Holly and I'm the principal consultant and founder of Awhi, a kaupapa Māori lobbying firm.
Awhi, my mate, keep that in your hand. We're starting these pātai. Well, we're talking about procurement. What's actually making it really hard for you to get opportunities, to get things across the line, to get the contracts or the mandates that you're looking for? What's one or two things that you're finding really hard right now?
Well, for what we do, we actually don't procure because, for one thing, it's very hard to get government to buy in to pay you to then make their job harder. So as a lobbyist, that's our job, is to make sure that the voices of our people are heard. And so what I would say is that for us, and I'm sure my colleagues here will have different views, but for us, procurement is about leading. So for me and my Pākahi, we currently have 45% of our procurement from other Pākahi Māori. So that's something I'm very proud of, and that's something that you can do with business. So it's something that you can do to show active investment in our whānau.
Kia ora. So I with my husband and with our team, we run Esanapini Construction Limited, and we have a whakapapa procurement policy, which means if you whakapapa to me, you're procured. And my nanny could whakapapa to everybody, my ki Magatani wha, right down to Taranaki. So kia ora for that. In regards to procurement, when I told my son, who's here today, Tangaroa, to talk about mana and why it's important, he said mana should be treated properly. And I want to say to every single procurement person in this room, you've got an obligation with that mana, and that obligation is a social obligation, and we just take the risk, be risky. You know, I hate to talk about risk, be risky, because these are the benefits. Nei, our tamariki mokopuna. If you support a Māori business, if you're given a procurement opportunity, affirmative policy to a Māori business or Pacifica, you're going to not only affect that whānau, but 10, 20 other whānau. Kia ora.
Kia ora, and everyone's a ngāpui, by the way.
Kia ora again. We're probably in a slightly nice position. We're the nationwide partner of PBTech and have been doing that for 6 years. So a lot of our business comes through that avenue. However, we have run into a couple of instances with procurement, with government entities, one of them being the police. A couple of years ago, we got asked to do an RFP. We were in a position of having the resource to do the rollout. I think it was 6,500 devices nationwide, needing the resource to roll that out and to also do their Windows 10 migration. We'd just finished a similar rollout with DHL across New Zealand and Australia. So we knew we were in a position to do the work, and we could do the work. However, within our team, we didn't have the ability to put together the right documentation in the way that it needed to be presented. And that was a frustration. I went to some of my cohorts at Fujitsu and Spark Digital and asked them, for some help. And they said, Aaron, we've got entire teams that all they do is fill out these documents. And that's what you're up against. And that's something that we still haven't got through. We're in a fortunate position with our partner, but we are working towards that. So that would be the biggest hurdle right now, is having the skill set and the team whose sole job is to sit there on Gets and go, yeah, let's go for that one, and then spend weeks, months or whatever putting together a document that the chances of getting it anyway, slim to none anyway, even though we can do the work. So we struggle a bit with that.
Just before you pass on to Glenn, does Amotai have a business that actually focuses just on writing those proposals? Because, yep, Maybe you can link in with Amotai and find out. Might
Thank
be
you.
someone in there.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, couple.
Yeah, I can recommend height.
Oh, height. Yeah, height.
Where is he? Yeah, I'll put you
Brother
up.
Warner.
He's not bloody here. All right, okay. We've worked with height ourselves. We're in a position where we need support in that area. We've got about just over 400 staff now, with a turnover close to $40 million a year, and it's an exciting time for us. But scaling a business to that size means a lot of risk, right? And so, what we're looking at from procurement is actually some actual, not just targets. We want some writing in your contract saying that, hey, this is what you need to get to actually deliver the contract. We need to put some writing in there. Be brave. We need you to be brave. We need you to go into there and state what you have to, some KPIs around what good delivery looks like for Māori and Pacifica. The other thing is, with procurement, it's tough. It's tough. We get in tender writers now to help us write, and we've been successful with our last two tenders, winning the Eden Park contract, delivering that for all their events and games that they've got, and a second one for our civil construction team, the surfacing contract within Auckland Stadium through Auckland Unlimited. We're incredibly proud of what we've achieved there, but yes, still navigating what their spending looks like from what we presumed the spending would be like, and what the actual are two different things at the moment. Obviously, the council's going through some cost constraints, so there's limited budget. So we're hoping that's going to improve over time.
So, there's a guy, Saya Latu. I don't know where he is. Usually he's at these hui. He's like the showcase best-looking supplier. What does a best-looking buyer look like?
Best-looking buyer.
And maybe you can name one too that you enjoy working with.
We work with a lot of different companies, a lot of tier ones. We recently won the Wellington Transport Alliance contract through partnership with Fulton Hogan. Great outcomes. One good thing that they put in there, we smashed the social outcomes around training, what we do for our staff, and creating a real good environment about earning while you learn. We want them to succeed in our business. We need smarter people in our business in leadership roles. And your business can only continue if you build from the ground up. We're struggling with other people to find people to come into the business. Yeah. And we've got some real competition at that lower level about attracting people into traffic management and civil construction. They are real problems at the moment. And we're trying to come up with innovative ways to attract people there.
I like how you answered a question I didn't ask, but hold. What's one thing that a really good buyer looks like?
A real good buyer is someone that states and it has action points rather than targets in their around social procurement, supply diversity.
Yeah.
Someone that doesn't really care what the budget is really nice, and just says make it work and we don't care what it costs. So we get those very rarely, but they do come about. I think for us a good buyer is someone that will give us a chance. We just did a rollout with the Ministry of Health a few weeks ago here in Auckland, and it went extremely well, but it's about being able to take that to the next level with them. And we were brought in as a subcontractor, and even though we got great feedback from the customer and the on-site team, I don't know what the next step is to that for them. The job got done, they're happy, it was within budget, within the time constraints they gave us, and what's next for that? So the ideal customer would be someone who, is willing to share that and look at the jobs themselves and what we work hard to do for you, and then come back.
Tino pai, mate. Tino pai.
Kia ora whanau. I'm going to talk about another little bit of a quote that my son Tangaro talked about mana. He said, mana is important in rangatiratanga. And the last time I sat at one of these forums, we were heading towards being the biggest building company in Tāmaki Makaurau. Then it all fell to pieces because the developer didn't pay us, to the tune of 100 to 200k. I put all our pūtea into the business in order to keep it solvent, but also in order to pay pay the poor men that worked on our site, and that was really important to us, even though it wasn't important to the people that didn't pay us, which is basically slave labour in this country. And I'm a lawyer, you know, so I've got a law degree, and I couldn't protect my company, my people. But what we did, we drew on our rangatiratanga, because my husband comes from Ngākuri Penihari, I come from Hohepa Otanepora, he hangatia e te tiritia Waitangi, so who signed the treaty, he's our chief, and same chief that Jordan comes from. We drew on our whakapapa, we drew on our mana tūpuna, we drew on our mana whenua, and we started from scratch from a container. We've now got 10 men, we've got 4 Māori apprentices, we're building the marae in Pangaru, we've just finished offering a contract. Kia ora, Amos. We just finished putting in a contract to Kāinga Order to the tune of 1.5, circa $2 million. And we did that because I had a lot of help in the space, and plus I could put an RFP in, do an impact pre-qual, put in 20K worth of money into that space. So my advice is, please just make it easier, affirmative policy, direct contract, and make the conditions easier, like what Kāinga Order's doing for us. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora whānau. I think there's 2 things. The first I would say is make the process simple, but don't cut corners. There's media out there right now about government departments cutting corners in procurement. You're putting my Pākehī at risk if you do that. I will tell you no, because you're not going to put my Pākehī at risk. Right? So that is the first thing. Do not cut corners. Tuarua, I would say, don't tell me what the time frame is, because you're not going to get me to do what I need to do with the people that I need to do it with in your 7-day time frame. As much time that you can give us as possible is important, because the way that we do things in Te Ao Māori is completely different than the way that government departments do things or other bigger entities. So you're looking for the outcome. Ka pai, I can give you that, but I need longer than 7 days.
Okay, this is from the Lorax. I speak for the trees. Some businesses, they're into biggering and biggering, but there's some risks out there. And on the Lorax, what we saw is, the last truffler tree just got cut down. What's the sort of risk, the biggest risk that you're facing today, Glenn? You might have mentioned something before, actually.
I think the biggest risk is resource at the moment for us. We've got lots of opportunity. I think the maturity of our business has actually helped us get better rates of pay. We used to struggle to get recognised and to get paid for our real value. I think that's kind of turned a corner at the moment. Maybe that's the inflation is a good thing. Actually getting that, getting people to realise there are some true costs out there. How do we train our people, put the extra money in, uplift them if we're always going for the low price model? It's just the capabilities. It just means that we're running around trying to find funding from other organisations to train our people. Really, we should be able to do that from the money we make, doing a good job.
Yeah, I would say, for me, the main 2 would be resource, getting the right staff on board or right contractors on board to be able to fulfil the requirements of the contracts. And I guess with all businesses, cash flow. COVID hit hard for my business specifically because we're a service provider, and of course, while we're on the list of businesses that could go to other certain companies and provide them the resource and the help, it was hard hitting. So we've definitely come out of the other side of that, which is fantastic. But also you touched on costing, and when we're putting together an RFP or a quote for a rollout or a job, you're often made to feel that you've got to be the cheapest or you've got no chance of winning this. And it'd nice to be in a position where you can put together a solution and an offering that is very well priced and fair to us as a company, and we're always not trying to cut out our own legs to get the work. I'm sure we've also done work where you get a contract and you've lost money on it because you've struggled to get it. We hear about the Auckland casino and the building companies around that. These massive companies can go in and put in bids that they know they can't do the contract at that price. They know it's going to fail. They'll know they'll need another $100 million. They hide that in the fine print, but we don't want to do that. We want to be upfront with what we do and how we do it and what it's going to cost. and hope to get good feedback about that and making sure we're not, again, always trying to be at the lowest cost denominator.
I'm thinking about risk. Obviously, if you all heard about my risk. So the risk, it's risky being in business. It's really risky. That's why you have to really support our small businesses, and that's why as procurement people in your industries and in your different organisations, just offer that support and walk alongside and be okay with power sharing, okay? It's going to have amazing benefits if that happens. In regards to our people, we decided we don't necessarily want to be the biggest company, and, again, like what we wanted to do last time, it didn't work. We just want to concentrate on our people. Our 10 to 20 people that we're going to have in far north, that when there's a 30k income threshold, and we're going to try and change that up. That's what we're doing. That's our momoia. And one of our dreams also is to make sure that we can try and get some houses to those 10 employees. So we're trying to help, like, for example, Jordan put his foundations down for his house, or there's another person, one of our workers, he lives in a bus. So Shane's given him did you give him the generator? Just like he gives him all the materials and stuff just to make his life good. And, this is what we're about. That's our mamoia. The risk, if we don't help, is greater than any risk for being in business. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
The biggest risk is people not paying their bills on time. So if you have the capacity to pay your bills on time, pay your bills on time. The reason I say that is because I make investment decisions not just on my kaimahi, but people that I'm procuring from based on what's happening with my cash flow. And so when you don't pay your bills on time, other people suffer.
Kia ora, kia ora. That's a good set of different risks and different mitigation techniques that you've got there. I'm just going to check, are there any pātai from the crowd? Because I've got 100 pātai. But has anyone got a burning question that they'd like to ask? Just put your hand up, say who you are, stand up and ask the question. Very good. Okay, carry on with the questions that I've got. Very good, very good. So, back in the Return of the Jedi days, you sort of started off as a Padawan, and then maybe you're lucky enough to get to the Jedi, and then all of a sudden you're Yoda. Okay? Where do you think you are in that little hierarchy? Are you in the Padawan phase? Are you in the Jedi phase? Or are you in the the Yoda phase?
We started at a garage in Sandra.
Sounds like Padawans.
With about 5 guys in 2008.
Awesome.
Now we've got 412. I checked the number yesterday. 412. But it's not been easy. I'll be completely honest. And just go tautoko what Holly was saying earlier. When you don't get paid on time, it just squeezes you to death, honestly. And lots of big companies use these smaller contractors as their bank, and they wait for the money. And we really suffered at the beginning. And we left big tier ones at the time to go and stick with people that paid their bills on time, because, we really suffered. We had to borrow money, get to houses, things like that. And they were stressful times. Hey, but you build a resilience. You find a way, and you find clients that you trust and you stick with them, right? Eventually you build reputation and you become the Yoda or whatever it is. But you need to build reputation and to get respect in the market as well. Like when you're going into for tenders and you're saying, I've got this and this and that, you're up against tier ones for some of them, and the reality is you've got to piggyback with the tier ones for them to win. We've done well with both Downer and with Fulton Hogan, and they've been great to us. But what we need now as a business, as a mature business, is longer term contracts. We can't work from 12 months to 12 months. We're taking a lot of risk around buying lots of assets. And the reality is, we're taking all the risk, and we need you to help us mitigate that risk a bit more, be better on that side. Yeah.
It's good feedback. Just before you pass on to the brother here, I don't know how it all runs through the different buyers, but maybe one of the assessment criteria is how do you treat suppliers? Yeah. How do you treat the subbies?
Oh, I got one of my suppliers in the crowd.
Kia ora.
How do we treat you, Delano? We've got to treat people how we want to be treated, right?
Kia
So
ora.
Delano came on board last year. He does all of our decals. I'll give him a bit of a shout out. He does an awesome job. Help him turn, I think, with one of his top customers now. But, you know, it's around actually doing what you're asking for. How do you actually change your business infrastructure? And that's a good thing about when you're buying, and with Māori and Pacifica businesses, they tend to do business with other Māori and Pacifica businesses. Our supply chain for Amotai businesses is around $3 to $5 million now, so a year, which is great. I think, you know, we can't ask you to talk the talk if we can't walk the walk, you know.
Kia ora. Junior and Amos, can you please get ready soon? We're going to finish off this and then we're going to whakaoti tō tātou hōtaka nei. Kei a koe matua.
Towards the Star Wars reference, I think it depends on the day. Some days you'll come out of a presentation and feel like Luke's just slayed Darth Vader and you feel great. And other days when you're going through the day-to-day business and business as usual from day to day, you feel like a Padawan and you're learning every day. And I don't think, and I hope that never stops. I think if I've stopped learning and I'm not growing our business, growing the staff, then we're failing at this. It's not just about the money. It's about more than that. Commenting on being the biggest business. Yeah, we've taken contracts off the data comms and the Fujitsus and the Sparks, and I'd like to do a lot more of that. But yeah, I think more of it is our ability to have relationships with our clients. I know that's difficult with government procurement. We're just a name and we're fulfilling a requirement for you guys. But one of the things that we strive to do, we just brought on to Panapa as a client. And one of the reasons they went with us versus one of the other big suppliers out there is that we were told it felt like family. That we flew down to Wellington to meet them. We sat in the room and we talked as Māori, and it felt nice. They said you presented to us and you listened to us and you're putting together a solution that works for us, not a solution that works for you. And that's the feedback they were getting from the other entities that we were up against, that they had to fit in with that client, with that entity's requirements, and where we're about building a solution that works for them. So in those instances, yeah, as I said, some days we feel like the slayer of Darth Vader, and other days not so much.
Got any R2-D2s in there? Raina?
Yeah, wow, we've come full circle. We've got a whakapapa to our company, right? So Shade's father, Henry Penny, who's he's passed away. He got his Māori Affairs Trade Training Certificate. And that's what we sort of like, so we've got a whakapapa to that we had to uphold, which helped us be resilient because we just couldn't fail this business. We had to just keep going. I think that we've come to a stage now where we're looking at our team and concentrating on our team and just thinking, okay, so what sort of values do we want to have for all of us? And we're thinking, oranga, well, we want well-being, we want us to be well and, everyone to be well because we're as good as our weakest link sort of thing. We want manaakitanga, we want to be able to help each other and our community. And, so in our community, we go down the marae, we're putting up po, we're doing all this mahi aroha, because we're able to do that because we're in business, okay? And then, but it comes back. So we're operating on wairua now. So I'm saying, actually, I think that we're in the Yoda phase because we're operating on wairua because it's coming back to us, Once you just regroup and then just draw on your mātauranga, your whakapapa, and then, then you can operate at a different level. And that's where we're at the moment. It seems to be working okay.
Kia ora.
Firstly, I'd like to say kia ora to Delano because we went to college together, so say hello to your wahine from me, please. I think, where are we at? We started off with one kaimahi me and I couldn't pay myself. We've now got hiring our fourth kaimahi. We are by no means the biggest lobbying firm in Aotearoa, and I'm not sure that we want to be. But what we do want to be is steadfast as a kaupapa Māori lobbying firm, and we want to be excellent at what we do. So not only are we aiming to be good in our sector, we're aiming to be great, and then hopefully we won't be one of the only kaupapa Māori lobbying firms in Aotearoa.
Kia ora, kia ora. Whānau, we're going to sing a waita for these whānau. They've done awesome mahi. We're going to do the pakipaki thing first. What's our waita? Huhana? What's our waita? Te aroha?
I've got.
Yeah.
Te got a water.
Oh, you got a waita? Oh, te aroha. Cool. Awesome. Ka pai. Kōrero. Waita mai.
Hara mai.
Ka pai. Tino pai e hoa.
Or you could say your chat.
Pūhanga tohora titiro ki te ramaro, titiro ki whiria. Te paiaka o te riri te kawa o rāhiri. Whiria titiro ki panguru, ki te rākau tū pāpata e tū ki te hau a uru. Panguru titiro ki maunga taniwha, titiro ki tokerau, titiro ki rākau manga, titiro ki manaia, titiro ki tāmoi, titiro ki maunga nui, titiro ki pūhanga tohora.
Kia ora.